Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can hear us all. Can everybody hear us?
All
Oh,
right.
good. Good afternoon for most of you. Some of you may be a little bit later, but I know some of you celebrate Halloween. Some of you have had your 100th anniversary. They're in Turkey, so congratulations. But we are so happy to see all of you join us. What a wonderful day. But first things first, may we scan all of you. All right, let's walk up to the creator of all that is. Everybody take a deep breath in and gather all the energy up from the bottoms of your feet. Go through your space and see yourself in a beautiful ball of light. Take that ball up to the sky and the universe through the series of white lights and dark lights and golden lights. Go all the way up to that jelly-like substance and up into that tingly white light, the seventh plane, until you feel all that unconditional love through every cell of your body. When you're there, say, Creator, thank you for my life. Take a deep breath in and open your eyes. I believe that our subject is You're Always Enough.
That's a good subject.
It's a great subject. Just want to make sure we covered that. Ed,
Me?
you were going to say something. I heard your breath.
No, I was going to take a drink.
It is true. You are always enough. But there are things that can always come up in your life that can make it so that you can feel a little bit of a tinge or feel a little bit off sometimes, whether it's the day, whether it's something that has come up in your day, whether you have related in something that may have come up that time, that you may feel a little bit off. And in those moments, those are the times I always feel like, oh, I can take a little note, write it down on my phone, be able to do some sort of belief work later, and then or do it in the moment if I'm doing some makeup, and allow myself to be able to change those things. Sometimes it's that we look outside of ourselves and think, oh, maybe if I just got that extra compliment, or if I got this little thing here or this little thing there, or somebody saw me, maybe it would make me feel that much better. But really what it is it all comes down to what's inside of us, how we feel about ourselves, how we truly are inside, and who we see ourselves are. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I like it. That's a good way to see it. When we're dealing with understanding and uniqueness, we're all so unique that we're learning communication. And I was just reading yesterday how one of the first styles that we learn to communicate with is pressure.
I was going to say something else, but
Yeah,
yes.
it's always pressure. Always pressure communication style. Well, it talks about how when we're young children, we use emotions to respond to the pressures of what we're feeling. And it was a really cool article that talked about all these variables that lead to a lot of the same reactions. Because there's only so many things that we can physically do in life. There's so many things that we're able to control and not control within our own physical body.
Sure, as a baby, they're going to cry. They're not going to be able to talk. And so responding and being able to say those types of things is going to be a little bit more challenging as a baby, for sure.
Taking it one step further, there's an extra amount of pressure that we feel based off the reaction of what we're having in a moment, whether that's in your own cells or outside the world around you. Somebody says something, somebody does something. What you feel, there's a desire to have put out, to have acceptance. And it's one of the hardest things about parenting is figuring out what style of acceptance they need. Do they need structure acceptance to know what the rules are? Do they need support and love? Like, what are they asking for?
And this kind of reminds me of our last weekend with our grandchildren, where we were kind of dealing with some of their things just themselves, and trying to find the style of which is best for each grandchild, because everybody's so different. All of us as people are so different. I mean, that's what I think is definitely one thing in seeing each other as well, this child may need this, but this person may need this to help them flourish and grow because we're so unique.
Yeah, so even this morning, as you guys came in here, you all had different responses. And then the time ticked by while they were getting things set up, and then you had different pressure feeling. You started to feel like uh, either more calm or more anxious or more trying to figure out what you were going to supposed to do or how you were going to do it. Maybe some of you thought about how your name was going to appear. And we tend to get into overthinking and overcorrecting. These are why we say you're always enough, is because when you can communicate like in truth and you know who you are and you have love and acceptance within yourselves, which is what we work on all the time. That's what Theta Healing does. We allow ourselves to kind of be true with love. And that allows us to kind of take control of a lot of the things that we're communicating subconsciously, electromagnetically, or wirelessly around us. We're basically reaching out and talking to the whole world all the time. And it's not uncommon that we take these pressures and we feel an action that a person or an action that happened in the world was directly related to us. And that's one of the reasons why in Theta Healing, we talk about being co-creators, but we don't talk about how many things that your cells are communicating until you've taken a little bit of practitioner class to know not to put that pressure on yourself of blame.
I mean, really, that would be you and creator about that time when you start to realize your connection to the creator and all the different things that are really working with you and how you're working with the creator and how that connection really helps you to understand what's going on within you so that you can see that some of the things that are around you are really working with you and what's not working with you. And
yeah, so when you wake up this morning, and did you feel like you were enough, or did you feel like there's a whole bunch of things you got to fix with yourself to be enough? And if you feel like there's a whole bunch of things you got to fix, all you're going to do is keep fixing things. Like even the process of working on something within yourself still means that you're enough. You're perfectly you. All the times, all the energies, everything coming together to form your cells with all these memories is a perfect system, unique, 100% unique. There's never going to be another one of you. There's never been one of you before. And we deal with moments and pressures where we feel like we can't see that or we don't show that to each other. It doesn't take us very far to look. I mean, we have all kinds of battles and frustrations going on in every avenue of business and every avenue of country lines. We just tend to move that pressure around from place to place. Mostly it's because we have a lot of people in our world that don't allow the feeling of acceptance and love and understanding within themselves to start to carry the same for another person. We can't have healing. And when Mom was looking at that first healing, she was left with a simple choice. She went up when she remembered she could, and it was, you're going to be here with a leg or without a leg. Which one are you going to choose? We have lots of choices. When you woke up this morning, up until the moment you came in here, you still had the choice to click the button or not click the button. You chose to click the button. Those of you who've turned your cameras on, shared your backgrounds, you've decided to share your backgrounds with us.
But what you're wearing today, what you've decided to do, how you've decided to sort of display yourself, everything is different. Everything that you chose was amazing. That's the best part.
They're a part of you. And once you made those choices, you could put them behind you and know that it's enough. You didn't have to go over the top because you didn't overthink it. You just stayed true to your feelings in the moment. And those feelings led you into a place where you can take information and choose to do with it what you wish, which is pretty much every moment of our lives. We get to absorb information and choose to do with it what we wish. But we're not always aware of what we're doing with all the information. We process so much that we kind of let the autopilot of our subconscious take over. And as more and more information comes out, they're calling it a semi-automatic robot. that runs a lot of your responses to your environment, to your world, to what's going on. And as you become aware of that, you start to flip it off and know what you're putting out, know how you're putting it out, know if you're communicating to the universe around you how much your worth is and what you should receive. And then you start to knock those things down. You start to create physically, understand that the vibrations are unique for you. There's a unique amount of movement. There's a unique amount of diet. There's a unique amount of relaxation and sleep. And the answer is understanding yourself to know what works. And you try all these things to figure out that answer so that you can know exactly what is enough for yourself.
But if you do find yourself looking in the next screen or the next day or someone down the street and comparing yourself, then you're no longer allowing yourself to be free of the limitations that you have set on yourself to just be truly unique in you, the beautiful person that you are every single day. You could share and inspire everybody.
Well, we moved a lot when I was younger. When I was
That's an understatement.
Yes, it's very much an understatement. But one time we moved in next door to this person who was my age, and we moved. I was 8. We moved in next door, and he's waiting outside by this little fence to see who's moving in to be his neighbor. And as I'm unloading, we meet each other, and we sort of hung out immediately all day long, every day, because we had all kinds of interests, everything lined up, everything made sense. We would play football and baseball, basketball, golf. We would play cards. We just hung out all the time. We've been in one fight, and we punched each other in the face. Boys do that sometimes, especially young boys.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because we were arguing over basketball. And we never got into another fight again. And we both called each other 2 minutes later, and we're like, hey, sorry. We had all kinds of extra communicators that were starting to bring more emotion to ourselves. We were able to set that aside and keep forward. But when we left, I remember very specifically not getting to communicate like, okay, man, well, I'll see you in a little while. We just moved, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to maintain those things. I didn't know how to stay in touch. The only phone number I can remember from my childhood is his phone number. So it took me a few weeks to call him. And it's taken me sometimes years to clear some different things to see how to keep relationships evolving. Each person is there for a moment. But the point I'm making is when I left, I felt like for a moment that this pressure had changed so much that I maybe could never change or could never grow. Because that's what I wanted to be used to. It's what started to feel comfortable. And if you've been with us in class, I talk about my cousin who became my best friend when I was a little older. And he had a very similar choice on his journey, and he could never move past that. He could never let himself be more than enough to start to be the answers, to start to move in a direction. It overwhelmed him every day and created it with a different vibration. I had the same choice at an even younger age, where I could feel like this is where I belong, this is the only place I belong, and move past it in a different direction. So we get going on this relationship, and then I move down the road and I meet Raina, and I'm still struggling to know that I'm enough. Mm-hmm. Whether or not as a person that I can communicate who I truly am, I'm hiding parts of myself.
And we do that because we want acceptance. That's one of the biggest things about understanding who we are and why this thing, theta healing, is so great, because it gives us the tools to allow us to change the things and recognize the things that we can change at any moment in time. Even if it's just something so little as, why do I feel like I need to have this acceptance from this person right now? or outside of myself? Why do I need a compliment from them right now?
As we go through and learn these things, we have different responses to it, but Raina was not having any of it. Raina flat out said, like, look, you're either going to be really who you are, or this is not going to be a possibility. And it hit me really hard. It hit me so hard because I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean I'm who I am? I know who I am.
Those can kind of be some really hard words when you first meet somebody. When you hear somebody say, I only want to be with you if you're going to be your true version of yourself. But what I was saying is that you have this most beautiful heart and soul. Why aren't you using those things rather than using these other words to make me seem like that's what I should be hearing and loving about you?
Yeah, so I specifically went home and I remember being stuck in this belief work session where I was making lots of decisions about how to create. And Raina was right. I was trying to force a perspective of myself to be seen. And I came to the realization that it wasn't fair, not to me, to Raina. That she was, if I was really going to love somebody and start to show unconditional love that I'd seen, I'm going to support her in these different directions, or even allow it for myself, then I had to take that look and go, okay, well, it doesn't matter what the definition of our relationship is. It only matters that we're able to step forward and I can support her and let her be the version she wants to be. And as I started to apply that, I started to realize over time that I didn't really ever allow that for myself. I never really allowed the understanding of the tools that you have. Do you have every tool to every problem in the world inside yourself to solve by yourself? I mean, you have all the answers in yourselves. You're manifesting the answer. It comes right next to you.
I mean, it may be true. You may have it on a history level, an ancestor level. You may have it on your soul level. You may have learned something in the past. But is it the way that you really want to continue solving that problem or manifesting going forward? Maybe not always be true. And that's the best part is you can change it if you want to.
When you start to realize what you bring and you have enough, you unlock the opportunity to see it in others. And then you unlock the opportunity to be patient and their journey of discovery. And it really gives you a whole new toolbox to create with in your world. We were talking, or Raina was talking to one of the people here in Columbia Falls. We both live in Montana. She's from another place and came to Montana. Mm-hmm. And she talked about how she doesn't fit in Montana.
The person I was talking to?
Yeah, the person Raina was talking to was saying, I don't fit in Montana because my skin color is a little different. All these people that I run into are saying things like people should go back to other places. And her world is not a very nice world. She doesn't know how to fit in. Yeah. So as she says this and she's talking about Montana, Raina says, I don't know what Montana, I know that version of Montana exists, but it's not the Montana I live in. And the person kind of pops up a little bit and goes, what do you mean? And Raina starts to explain, look, we have people who come from all over, who meet other people.
Just like you.
We have people who live in this town that have come from other places, that come see us all the time. We live in the part of Montana where there's a lot of acceptance and a lot of diversity and a lot of understanding for who people are. This person had never been able to allow that version of the area they were in. They were stuck in the same patterns, creating a smaller and smaller area to exist instead of seeing the tools to expand it. They started to feel more isolated and more alone and more alone. We do that when we start to feel like we're not enough. We isolate and look for a place that we can find exactly us. And then we isolate some more. We isolate some more. And it becomes a pressure response where we're trying to control things that are going on around us in a safe way. And I can tell you that the biggest safety that I've ever had in my life came from knowing and connecting to unconditional love, just to see people. I've been in places that are places I probably shouldn't have been, that I didn't belong, wearing things that I was representing to try to solve a financial situation. And it meant that people hated me, not because they knew me, but because of what they thought I was representing. Walking into that place, that type of hatred leads to another level. And I knew that there was an easy way to break it down. And it started by knowing that you're enough, who you are. Because to me, in my cells, and I've seen Raina do this all the time, it's one of the things I admire the most, is in a situation when you can radiate yourself, you trump stereotypes. People walk in and go, something feels different. What is different? And no one can take anything away from you.
It's true.
You know, kicked around, pushed around, wherever it is that things happen in life, people try to take something, but they can't take anything that isn't given to them.
Because you know your own value, you know your worth, you know who you are, and you just send out love.
So as all these other people were all feeling that energy and they were feeling like something might be taken or there's a battle for possibly their lives, I was the only person walking around smiling. Hey, how are you guys doing today?
At war.
Yeah.
He was at war.
Well, I'm trying to avoid.
Well, I'm just saying the obvious.
Yeah. The people and the ideas were not me. I can be me in the situation, and there's certain things that you agree with, there's certain things that I agree with. I can always see the beauty in that choice. And we tell people all the time, the best protection comes when you can just see them with unconditional love too. Mm-hmm. You have so much love and acceptance for yourself that you walk into a situation and you go, okay, we have different points of view, but that's okay. I'm glad your point of view works for you. And I hope it continues to open up abundance.
It's kind of like this weekend. Over the last weekend, our son came and visited us, and he was on a plane where he sat in a specific place. It was kind of up in the front, and most of the children that are unaccompanied minors are supposed to sit in the back of the plane. Well, he didn't like it. He was the stewardess. He was the person that takes care of the people that are in the first class, and he was up front. He did not like that this child who was 14, who doesn't look like he's 14, was sitting up front. And so he proceeded to let his words be known that he was very upset that he was sitting there, and then proceeded to make sure that he was on his next plane in the back. Regardless of whether or not he was paid for to be sitting there or not, it hurt his feelings. And so he made it known that that was the case. So when I called in to let it be known that that was something that we wanted to talk about, I called and I talked to the people at the airlines, and I said, I have a real concern about this. What happens when an employee talks to a child so angrily that they take it out on him? What possibly may be going on with this person? And he said, I'm so sorry. I said, it's not about it being sorry about my child. My child's going to be fine. What I'm concerned about is the person that was so mad. What could possibly be going on in his life that he could be having so much anger to be taken out on somebody else that could change things for him and his demeanor that would be something totally separate than what he probably meant to in that moment. And the guy was very taken back by the thought and the pattern of the perception of the way things were. And he said he'd never had anybody look at it from that perspective before. And when we come with love, when we see that people have moments, when people have times where they may not be doing things out of love, or things may have happened in their lives that may have taken them into a different way of treating other people, it's usually they're projecting on something that may be happening horribly in their life. And if we see things with love, we can give them the love that they deserve and need, because that's when they need it most.
But I mean, that's a good example just because it's easy to figure out what his motivation was. He flies all the time. Most of the children that they have to take care of, he stopped having to take care of because he moved from one section on the plane to the other section of the plane. He didn't have that opportunity when he was a child. All those things come together.
Sure.
And as they come together, there's a response. How many times do we get put into that response that we can't express? And instead, in our frustration, it comes out as anger. It comes out as resentment. It comes out as maybe revenge, where we're trying to make up for something that, if would have gone different in our life when we were younger, our whole world could change. You are, with the knowledge that you have now, able to create differently. You're able to open the door. Today, you can go out and make a slight change in your life that will change the way you communicate and open up 50 more doors.
This is true.
Heck, you might have opened up 50 more doors because your cat came right in front of you to say hi on the camera this morning. Cats. You never know when these things actually present themselves, except for you do. Your cells know that everything that you talk about being possible is possible in every moment. And we walk through life recreating a lot of the same emotions and the same situations because they're really comfortable to our subconscious. And as much as we do not believe they're comfortable to us inside of our conscious self, unknown things, new things, much more uncomfortable. People who win the lottery end up giving most of their money back after a short period of time because they go back to what's comfortable. People who've had certain things happen to them that would be considered bad have them usually happen a second or third or fourth or fifth time before people have it happen the first time. Because it's what's comfortable. It's what's known. They know how to deal with that situation. They may not like it, but in their cells, they already know it. When we start to knock down these walls, we start to realize we're enough. We realize that the situation that we're in, we can be enough in no matter what. We have an answer to. Then you start to open up the biggest doors of success for yourself in every layer of life. Spiritual success, physical success.
Emotional, mental.
You just become a complete version of your abundance in every direction. You're a very abundant being.
And you're creators of all your reality all the time.
The biggest step that people take, whether you're learning the first day or this is the first time we've got to see you, is starting to accept yourself and know that from the perspective of unconditional love in the universe, you're perfect. Even the mistakes are perfect mistakes.
Because without them, you wouldn't be here today.
And every one of those brought us to share this moment. And after this moment, it's going to bring you on a journey to share other moments with other energies. You just got to decide what you want to do with all those moments. Start to turn the switch off from your autopilot, subconscious, and mesh it so that you're the one who's communicating everything you want in every moment of your life.
Because people are looking for you and your stories.
So find a way to share them, seize the opportunities that do so, and you'll be surprised at how quickly things happen. I'm pretty sure that Raina just signed a small agreement to start to do some things that came about in about an hour by her just being herself. You open the doors and trust yourself. We live in a time where we can actually have the job of being an influencer. And what it takes is showing the sides of yourself that are you, that make you unique. But you don't have to even do that. You could do any other thing in this world and be truly successful at it. As soon as you know what it is that you love to do And people can feel that love behind every action in your heart. So we'd like to give you a couple downloads.
We'd like to download that you know that you are important, that you can feel that importance, that you could radiate that importance, and you can trust that connection to the creator energy in every action that you do, and that people can feel it from you.
And that you know how to allow the feeling of being enough inside of yourselves to know how to connect and create in every moment with unconditional love and acceptance.
If you like those downloads, make sure you put your thumb up, nod your head, say yes, whatever it is.
One more thing we'd like to do.
It's a good one.
We would like to walk you through a little manifestation.
Yes.
We want to walk you through seeing the life that you want, but we want to add one question. And that's simply, when you're walking through it, I want you to see if you've allowed yourself to feel like you're enough. Not that the things you're manifesting are enough, but that you're enough to be felt and heard and understood in every one of these situations. If you don't feel like you're enough, or that you belong, or that you deserve it, then you guys know you have some looking to do in your subconscious. So if you read the Theta Healing book, it's time to do digging. If you've taken a class, it's time to do digging. If you're an instructor or a master, it's time to do digging.
Whatever it is, you get the choice to choose how you want to proceed forward.
But we'll walk you through the exercise so you can take a look at it. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to take in a deep breath and close your eyes. Gather the energy up, bring it up through the bottoms of your feet. Up above your space, you're going to see yourself in a ball of light. Once you're in that ball, you're going to go up through the sky, through the universe, through layers of white light and dark light, through layers of golden light, through a gray jelly-like substance, all the way up to a tingly white light. Once you're in that energy, all the way in, you're going to request, Creator of all that is, I request these things in my life now. Thank you, it is done, it is done, it is done. And you're going to come down, you're going to see your life. You're going to see yourself waking up, going to work, and you're going to see your manifestations becoming a part of your life. While you're watching your manifestations become a part of your life, you're going to pay particular attention to the emotion inside yourself. If you feel like you're enough, if you feel like you belong, if you know that these things and yourself can be radiated in unison and be felt by the people around you. Watch as all the things you manifest come into your life, all making sure you have that connection with yourself, knowing how important you are, knowing that you're enough. If you don't, you'll be able to take some notes and take a look as to what's blocking you from accepting that in your life. When you're finished, go back up to that tingly white light energy and open your eyes.